Hello everybody, I'm Keith O'Dare, and welcome to today's Messianic Moment, where we look at scriptures through the lens of John chapter 5, verse 39, where Jesus told the people standing there to search the scriptures, and in them you think you found eternal life, but they testify of me. Today's Messianic Moment brings us to chapter 22 of Genesis, where we find the story of God commanding Abraham to give his one and only son as a sacrifice. Does this story reflect or prophesy a sacrifice of Yeshua by God almost 2,000 years later? Let's look at a few details to see if that is so. All right, the first detail of the story is after Abraham was told to go to a certain mount in Moriah. He packed everything up, including Isaac and two unknown servants and the wood for the sacrifice, and headed to this mount in Moriah. And when they arrived there, it says here in verse 4 of chapter 22, it says, on the third day, Abraham lifted his eyes and saw the place far off. Normally, you would have said he lifted his eyes up and saw the place. But scholars look at this as saying that he saw the place far off or far away. A reference to the time span was between this story and Yeshua, Jesus Christ, being given as the ultimate sacrifice. Our second detail comes in verse 6 of 22. It says, Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac, his son, and he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went on together. Here we have the sacrifice of Isaac being carried on the back of Isaac himself to the place that he is to be sacrificed. Again, a reflection of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, carrying the wood to Golgotha. The next detail is in verse 7, and it says, Isaac spoke unto Abraham his father, and said, Father. And he said, Here I am, son. He said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? And Abraham responded, My son, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went on both together. Notice this is a reflection of the duality of Jesus' nature, both man and God. Also notice in this, if we've added verse 9, it says, and they came to the place where God had told him of, a specific place, again, being Golgotha, and on Mount Moriah, on Mount Zion. Abraham built an altar there and laid the wood in the order and bound Isaac, his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. Notice that Isaac went freely, did not object at all to this. Again, Jesus Christ went freely to the cross and did not object. And of course, our final one is where instead of sacrificing Isaac, the angel said, don't do it, and provided them a ram, a male lamb, for the sacrifice. If you look into the law, a female sacrifice is required. However, a male was given, signifying a male would be given later for it. How do we know this? Where Abraham himself called the name of the place Yah-Haya Yireh, or otherwise known as Jehovah Jireh. in English. And it's said to this day, in the mount it shall be seen. Notice what it says, and it's said to this day, in the mount it will be seen. Almost 2,000 years before Jesus Christ, Yeshua, was put up on the cross, the Hebrews, which includes the Jews, were looking for something to occur similar to what just played out here in chapter 22, as God providing a sacrifice for mankind. To nail it down, remember Jesus said in John 8:56, he said, your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. This has been the Messianic Moment. I hope you enjoyed it. Shalom.